I hope to release other people with epilepsy from trying to control something they can't control and feel terrible, to know that, for them to know they accept their epilepsy and allow themselves to release the best self that they can.
She was pulled out of school at age 13 after a grand mal seizure shattered her dream of becoming a professional dancer. She was told her future was over, but decades later, she is a university graduate, dance therapist, and a mentor helping people with invisible illnesses reclaim confidence and independence. It's Miss Christine Cooper Smith. She is a co author with Pat Mesiti in the book Stories of Strength, Real Journeys of Struggle, Resilience, and Renewal. We're here on Pat Mesiti's best-selling author podcast to find out the secrets of life, to overcome our struggles and to just get through life and not just survive, but also thrive. And no matter what life throws at us, because life does happen and sometimes unexpected events occur, and it's up to us to figure it out, solve the problem, move forward. So, Miss Christine Cooper Smith, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, as well as can be, and I hope you are well too.
Oh yes, I am grateful to be alive and healthy and active and to be born in this era of time, because imagine if we were born in like the year like 1000 BC, live a miserable existence, just walking through the mud. We have indoor plumbing, right? We have electricity, we have heat. So it's a great day, and I'm excited to find out about you. And so, what is the situation? You have epilepsy, and you've been through some life struggles, correct?
Oh, yes. Even this morning, I found out the drug that I'm taking for epilepsy is quite dangerous by the time I reach my age. So now I have to rush around and find a neurologist because I've moved to Canberra from Melbourne and from Sydney. So I'm in a bit of a spot. If you don't have a doctor, it's a bit tough, a bit scary. And yeah, what was the rest of your question?
Oh, just I mean, I'm curious about epilepsy because I've heard about it. I've known people with it, but I don't really know like what the definition is or like what your health status is.
Okay, epilepsy isn't really a health condition, it's a disability. It's the brain misfiring, and what happens, there's many different types of seizures. The one I have is grand mal, which is also called tonic clonic. It's been updated, but it's one of the worst ones, and you go into a seizure on the ground, and your body loses control and you lose consciousness. But you wake up, you feel a bit miserable, but you get over the seizure. Um, However, it's not so much the seizures, it's the loss of control of your body, wondering what it's going to do all the time, especially when you're not when your drugs aren't working. But the main things that happen, you lose confidence in yourself. You rely on people so much to help you out that, well, I know I did. I felt like a burden, and that doesn't help you. So you have to try and get over these things, and it really is hard. You have to develop ways of telling people that you have epilepsy. You've got to communicate that. Otherwise, they wouldn't know, because the seizure lasts a few minutes, right?
Right.
And but that's not it for you, because you have emotional problems, and those emotional problems, dealing with the seizure and dealing with other people who don't know what's happening in your head, it can lead to depression, anxiety, um, yeah, being alone. You tend to go off on your own to try and get sense of your own independence. And it causes a lot of different things in a lot of different people, but there's a lot of emotional things that cause you to find socializing very hard. And that's what I'm promoting. I'm not promoting anything medical or clinical or drugs either. What I find the most difficult, what I'd like others to find answers, share answers with, is how they cope in social situations and how they cope with their emotions, which can overtake and can cause a seizure anyway. So our heads are going all the time. What's going to happen? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? So I don't know if that helps you at all with your question.
Yeah, I mean, it helps explain some of the chaos and confusion. It seems like so much to navigate, both internally and externally. There's the physical, but then there's also the emotional, and then the kind of your like overcorrecting, and it just it seems very frustrating, right? Like you can't even drive a car, correct?
Well, some people can. I have never been able to. I lost the ability to dance, which I loved, because you have to be spot on, and I can have a blank in my mind in a second, but it puts dance steps out. So that was out. I was taken out of school, and there's a story about that. Would you like me to tell you?
Yes, please.
Okay, I was in high school. I was about, I don't know, somewhere between 13 and 14, and I was sitting in class up the back, favourite teacher, who asked a question. And in those days, we used to put up our hands and flick them forwards to get the teacher's attention, which I did, but I had my pen in my hand and my arm jerked. I lost control of it, but it was very hard. The pen flew into the wall next to the teacher's head and stayed there. But that's not the worst. The whole class suddenly turned their heads, and the headmaster turned up at the door just as it happened. So I felt like a criminal. The teacher was really surprised. But that's one of the things that got my teachers and headmaster to contact my parents. It's just a story that I haven't heard anything like that before, but I have to laugh about it. Otherwise, I'd be worried all the time.
Yeah, that's all you can do, right? When you have those past moments, and if you keep on reliving and having the guilt and just kind of focusing on that, how will that help you in the present moment, right? We need to focus on some positivity and optimism and achieve some new goals.
That's right. You have to redefine your goals, in fact. There are many things that you can't do. And setting up boundaries is so important. You know, people don't understand what's happening inside. They don't understand that you maybe aren't allowed to have alcohol because it can cause seizures. Doesn't work with your drugs. The same with coffee and tea. They have caffeine in them, which doesn't work. There are people who get them through vivid lights. I don't like it when I'm driving down the road and you've got trees lining the street and the sun pops in and out as you're driving. I have to close my eyes. I've also had a seizure I've had one after wine. I was invited to the Barossa Valley and thinking it wouldn't matter, I just took sample sips. But I passed out for 3 hours. And luckily I was all right. That one was funny too at the time. But the heat up in Queensland, I went up at the wrong time, I think. The heat does me in, and the humidity combined. And I was taken somewhere where they had loud, loud drums, which caused a headache. And I was very embarrassed because I was staying at someone's place and had a seizure in the bedroom. I don't know if they knew what to do. One of them was an ambulance paramedic anyway. I was lucky there. And another story is that I was trying to learn to drive when I was younger, and my daughter loaned me her car. She sat beside me, and I thought, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. And I was driving down the road, and a car started coming at me from the other direction, and I panicked. I wanted to get off the road, but instead I ran into a bush and scratched her lovely car. She was lovely about it, but I felt terrible. So just some stories that make you feel a bit of a dope, and you wonder if people are giving up on you at times. I've had problems at work too. Not problems, just stories that I could tell you. As to stigmas, that was one question that I was interested in too, because I was reading about epilepsy. It was in Britain, and this gentleman was fired because he had a seizure, and I think he might have been a manager. It is dangerous, and it can be a problem because you can't do your job as well. But it just shows that stigmas are still around, and you have to beware when you're going for a job. I never told them at interview. I waited till I found out if I had the job, and then I would tell the manager, and I also told the staff what happened, that I got tired of an afternoon, that I would get confusion in my head a lot. And I found communicating and setting boundaries were an absolute necessity, which helped me a lot.
Yeah, and it seems like boundaries are about rules, aren't they? And you say, like, if I'm in this situation, I won't have the coffee or the tea or the wine, or I'll make sure that someone knows about this condition, and just to manage the unpredictability of it that it seems like that you have. Like, of course, you can't. Like, none of us can have a completely predictable existence, right? Like, I might step out in the road and get hit by a truck without any other factors at play. So it's just, but you're kind of managing your situation. And so you mentioned about these you mentioned already a few of like the kind of being limited in different ways, or the kind of the opportunities, like the dancing being quashed, but the stigmas, maybe there's something in there for us to have some awareness. Like, is there any kind of like message about epilepsy that you wish was more public?
Yeah, the social side and the emotions that you go through, and they can be varied, but you lose your self-esteem a lot, and people tend to lose patience with you. But you've got to give them the benefit because they don't know what's going on inside you. Not your fault either, but you're the one with the epilepsy and you know what's happening. So you do have to share these things.
That's an interesting insight, that it's up to you to educate others. You can't expect them to know. And there, it makes me wonder, like, are you in any kind of like community support groups, things like that about epilepsy?
I have joined before, but I'd like to set something up online so that some people with epilepsy are worse than others, and by setting it up in their home on their computer, they may be able to talk to others. I've seen Facebook groups, but I would like to interact more. I've set up some little what do you call those little things that you open up each morning, to like devotions, only they're to be positive during the day. I've forgotten the name of them,
Well, there's like
but
daily devotionals. Yeah.
yeah, but they're not a Christian devotional. I read those too, but they're just a positive approach for each morning to start off on. And I set up a little couple of tutorials, quizzes, and they can be done by either email or, as I'm hoping, on my website when I've finished it. And I'm also looking at the AI situation. I'm quite interested because memory is a shocking thing when you've got epilepsy. It's usually the drugs. And when I first used AI, I think that's about a year ago now, I used ChatGPT for corrections on writing, and I was, wow, because my mind just blanks out. And you can't remember the word or sometimes whole sentences. So I become a friend of ChatGPT, but I'm in a wonderful class. I can't mention the name here, I guess, but he's teaching using AI for marketing reasons. And I'm finding that so many are coming up now. There's one out, I'll mention that one that we talked about before. It's called Harley, and it's for your smartphone, created by Queensland University. It can talk to you, it can tell you stories, it can do reminders, and I haven't gone right into it, but the only thing I worry about is that at the end of ChatGPT it just says, be aware that AI can make mistakes. Wouldn't be good for someone with epilepsy, unless it was just telling stories or helping you write them. That would be good. Anyway, I'd like to introduce them to AI for memory's sake. And that's why I'm starting to do the website in AI. Not starting, I've already started. Then I want to add the info about the ChatGPT and others and use it.
Yeah. And yeah, what's the point of the tool if you don't use it, right? And it's good to know that
Yeah.
a lot of these resources exist, because I know, especially during the pandemic when Zoom became more of a thing, there was that hesitation like, well, is this as good as meeting in person? Well, probably not, but it still eliminates a lot of the excuses, right? If someone says, well, I there's no meeting near me, or I can't go to a group gathering about my condition. Well, there's online, and it's not 100% as good, but it removes a lot of the excuses, right? It takes less time, there's less distance, and there's Facebook groups, so there's more resources than maybe we knew existed to help us with any situation, including, even it might just be that maybe being a bad speller, right? Or bad with grammar. Well, hey, even AI can help you with that no matter what. Dyslexia, take your pick. Just low education
Yep.
level, it can fill in the blanks for you. And as you say, it's a tool to help you, right? It doesn't replace you. So it still makes mistakes. There's still that human element, but hey, if you if you say, I can't make a website, I can't get my thoughts together, I'm forgetful, well, you just figure out this other skill of working back and forth with the AI, and you can achieve many great things that you thought that you couldn't, and you will even surprise yourself with what you end up creating. And so we've jumped around with all sorts of many discussions, haven't we, Christine? We've talked about self-help and epilepsy and getting what you want and persevering. But since you are the star of the show, I want to make sure that we talk about what's important to you. So do you think there might be a missing question in our conversation that I should be asking you, I just don't know to ask you?
Let me think. I would just I think I did say that I don't do medical or clinical don't come from that perspective. It's for social, mental, and relationship wellness. It's just to help people set goals, assist in their personal growth and their confidence. I'm reading off my notes here.
Okay.
To know that because my memory is bad, that's why I like ChatGPT. Anyway, I hope to release other people with epilepsy from trying to control something they can't control and feel terrible. For them to know they accept their epilepsy and allow themselves to release the best self that they can. That epilepsy is only a part of you. It's really hard to learn. It's taken me quite a few years. But yeah, I did take risks when my drugs started to work because I like movement, and I tried abseiling in a group. Well, there's someone up above me with a rope and someone down below holding the rope. I loved it, but unfortunately I couldn't keep it up. Not because of the epilepsy, but because I moved to another state and they didn't have that there. But you can try these things if you feel confident, if everyone around you knows you have epilepsy, and what to do to deal with it if you do have a seizure. A lot of people have them at night or in the morning too, rather than during the day. But everyone's different.
Okay, so self-awareness and self-discovery is important. Don't give up, be kind to yourself, and figure this out, right? And you don't have to figure it out on your own. You can get help, you can read, and especially check out this very excellent book that Christine Cooper Smith is a part of called Stories of Strength, Real Journeys of Struggle, Resilience, and Renewal. And you can find that at storiesofstrengthbook.com. And you can find Christine Cooper Smith's website at ccoopersmith.com. And as we go there, Ms. Christine, it's time for the ending section of our podcast where I ask about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
I love this one. The quote is, "I want people like me to see that they shouldn't let a disability get in the way. I want to turn my disability into ability." And this quote is from Susan Boyle. You might remember she was on England's Got Talent. She sang to Dream the Impossible Dream. All the judges, especially Simon, when they saw her come on, went, "Oh no." But when she opened her mouth, she had a beautiful voice. She won the season. She went on to become a singer. But I think it was too much for her, and she's helping children with epilepsy. She also says, she emphasizes that living with epilepsy does not define a person's abilities or potential. She encourages openness about the condition and inspires others to embrace their uniqueness and pursue their dreams despite challenges. Also, she says, follow your dreams. It's never too late. You're never too old. And I love Susan Boyle.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful. There's so much packed into that, right? That it's never too late. You pursue these dreams, you deal with the challenges, and it's part of your uniqueness, right? Turn that disability into an ability, and we can unpack and find out more about Christine Cooper Smith and her superpowers at ccoopersmith.com. She naturally builds strong, trusting relationships. She loves mentoring, guiding, and supporting others. She thrives in collaborative environments and teamwork. And if you say, hey, that's the kind of person that I want to have in my orbit, I could learn a lot from her, then check out ccoopersmith.com and check out the book storiesofstrengthbook.com. It's on Amazon and it's co-authored with Pat Mesiti. So if you are at this point where you say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, I want to pursue renewed purpose, safety, and self-respect, check out Christine Cooper-Smith. Her website, ccoopersmith.com. And thanks, Ms. Christine, for showing up, stopping by, being real, authentic, helpful, inspiring. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me here.